Is life starting to seem monotonous? Do you find yourself attracting the same type of events? Before we dive in, I want to make something clear. I'm not a philosopher, nor do I claim to have all the answers. I'm just someone who observes, reflects, and questions the patterns we all experience. My goal isn't to tell you how to live your life, but to share a perspective that might help you see things differently. So, let's get started. From what I've observed, it's fair to say that most, if not all, people face this issue. Life is complex by nature, filled with infinite possibilities. So why do we keep experiencing the same patterns, as if we're stuck in a loop? Have you ever asked yourself this question? Am I in a loop? The short answer is yes. Take a moment and look back at your life. You'll notice that during certain periods, the same pattern kept repeating itself, until, seemingly out of nowhere, you broke free. But was it really out of nowhere? Something happened. A shift occurred. But you were so focused on the new results that you didn't take the time to reflect on why the change happened. Let's take relationships as an example. Think back to your first crush. It was uncharted territory, a new feeling you had never experienced before. You built a connection, put in your best effort, maybe even tried to impress them. But sometimes, despite all your efforts, things didn't work out. And just like that, you experienced your first heartbreak. At that moment, you had two choices: learn from it or repeat the same mistakes in your next relationship. Maybe you asked yourself, why didn't it work? I was honest. I cared, but they didn't see it. The truth is, there was a lesson hidden between the lines, but you missed it. And until you learn that lesson, you'll stay stuck in that loop, meeting different people but facing the same results. For most of us, heartbreak teaches one of two things: how to love yourself or how to love others. Some realize they were too dependent on their partner for happiness and learned to stand on their own. Others see that they were too selfish or neglectful and learn to appreciate the people they love before it's too late. The lesson is always there. It's just a matter of whether you choose to see it. Now let's talk about another loop: money and career. Maybe you've struggled with your job, felt unappreciated, or had problems with your boss. Eventually, you decide to leave and start fresh somewhere else, only to find yourself in the same frustrating situation again. The first time, maybe you were unlucky. The second time, coincidence. But by the third or fourth time, you have to ask yourself, am I the common denominator here? If you take a step back, you might realize that the issue isn't just bad bosses or unfair workplaces. Maybe you struggle with authority. Maybe you don't speak up when you should. Or maybe you don't take enough responsibility for your actions. The pattern keeps repeating because you haven't yet made the internal change necessary to break it. And it doesn't stop there. The same cycles appear in friendships, family, health, and even personal goals. Maybe you always attract the same kind of toxic friendships. Maybe you keep saying you'll start exercising or eating better, but you never follow through. Maybe you feel like you're constantly trying to change your life, yet you always end up back where you started. So what's the solution? It starts with awareness. Next time you find yourself stuck in a loop, don't just get frustrated. Pause and reflect. Ask yourself, why does this keep happening? What role am I playing in this? What lesson am I missing? Because once you learn the lesson, something incredible happens. The loop breaks. You stop attracting the same problems, the same people, the same struggles. Instead, you move forward. Life will always have challenges, but when you start seeing them as lessons rather than punishments, everything changes. You gain control. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the author of your own story. So, the next time you feel stuck, don't just complain about it. Take a step back. Reflect. Ask yourself, what is life trying to teach me? Because once you learn the lesson, the loop ends and a new chapter begins.